Francisco Goya once painted kings. He lived in palaces, admired by royalty. He had fame, money, and power. Then, something happened. And after that moment, his art turned dark, violent, and deeply disturbing. He began painting his nightmares, demons, witches, madness, cannibalism. And he never explained why. This is the story of the artist who saw too much. Francisco Goya was born in Fuentedotos, Spain, in 1746. From a young age, he was ambitious, talented, and fiercely determined to make his mark. After years of struggle and rejection, he finally broke into the rarefied world of the Spanish royal court. By his 30s, he had achieved his dream. He became the official painter to the kings. He captured the images of queens, princes, and the most powerful nobles in the land. His portraits were sought after, his position secure. But Goya was different from other court artists. He didn't just flatter, he showed reality. Look closely at his royal portraits. You can see the subtle wrinkles, the flicker of fear in an eye, the hint of arrogance in a posture, the weakness behind the expensive fabrics. He painted truth, masterfully disguised as beauty. For a while, he walked the tightrope between honesty and survival, becoming a golden boy of the establishment, while quietly documenting its flaws. He had everything an artist could desire, but this golden age was about to end. In the winter of 1792, while traveling, Goya fell gravely ill. The diagnosis remains a mystery to this day. Was it lead poisoning from his paints, an autoimmune disease, a rare viral infection? We don't know. But the symptoms were catastrophic. He suffered from severe, debilitating headaches, temporary paralysis that left him helpless, and terrifying hallucinations. He was tormented by visions and sounds that weren't there. After months of excruciating suffering, he miraculously survived, but he was not the same man. The illness left him with a permanent scar. He was now profoundly deaf. The world he had known, a world of courtly whispers, music, and conversation, was gone. He was trapped in a world of silence. And from that moment on, his art began a radical transformation. The light started to fade, and the shadows began to creep in. Shortly after Goya's personal tragedy, his country was plunged into one. Napoleon's armies invaded Spain, igniting a brutal and bloody conflict. The war was not a distant affair for Goya. It was on his doorstep. He witnessed public executions, massacres of civilians, and the horrors of famine. He saw starving people begging in the streets and bodies piled up, unburied. The polite society he once painted had vanished, replaced by chaos and unimaginable cruelty. In secret, he began to document these horrors. He created a series of 82 prints that would later be known as the disasters of war. These weren't paintings of glorious battles or heroic generals. They were raw, unflinching depictions of suffering. There were no heroes, no glory, only the brutal reality of what humans do to one another. It was one of the first and most powerful anti-war statements in the history of art, a visual record of the horrors that governments and leaders tried to hide. The combined trauma of his illness and the war pushed Goya deeper into himself. He withdrew from society, becoming isolated, suspicious, and lost in his silent world. His deafness cut him off, and the atrocities he had seen haunted him. He filled private notebooks with strange and disturbing drawings, witches on broomsticks soaring through the night sky, men transforming into beasts, grotesque monsters being born from the mind of a sleeping man. Beneath one of these famous drawings, he wrote a phrase that would echo through the centuries: "The sleep of reason produces monsters." For Goya, art was no longer about capturing beauty or securing commissions. It was about confronting the darkness he saw everywhere outside in the world, and inside his own mind. It had become a matter of survival. In his final years, Goya, now in his 70s, bought a small house on the outskirts of Madrid called the Quinta del Sordo, the House of the Deaf Man. It was here, in total privacy, that he descended into his darkest visions. Directly onto the plaster walls of his home, He painted a series of murals that were never meant to be seen by anyone but himself. These weren't for sale, not for fame, not for the public. They were a private exorcism, known today as the Black Paintings. They are among the most unsettling and powerful works in all of art history. Among them is the terrifying Saturn devouring his son, a wild-eyed, monstrous god, a figure of absolute power, consuming his own child to prevent being overthrown. It's a raw, visceral symbol of tyranny, of time devouring all things, of power destroying the very future it claims to protect. These were his private nightmares, made real on the walls of his home, a silent scream in an empty house. So what really happened to Goya? Historians and doctors have debated it for centuries. Was it the physical effects of his illness, lead poisoning driving him mad? Was it severe depression, or what we would now call post-traumatic stress disorder? The truth is, it was likely a combination of all of them. Think about what he had witnessed firsthand: the corrupting nature of absolute power in the royal court, the unspeakable crimes of war, the depths of human cruelty, and the cynical lies of politics. The deafness isolated him, and the horrors replayed in his mind. But Goya didn't simply go insane. In a way, he became painfully sane. He saw the world without its illusions, without the comforting lies we tell ourselves. He saw the monster that sleeps just beneath the surface of reason. And it broke something inside him, or perhaps it awakened something. He became an artist not of what the eye sees, but of what the soul knows. Goya's journey into darkness ended up changing the course of art forever. Long before the movements had names, he was a forerunner of expressionism, using distorted forms to convey raw emotion. He was a pioneer of surrealism, drawing images directly from the subconscious and the world of dreams. He was the father of modern psychological art, proving that the true subject of a portrait is the inner life, not the outer appearance. Before Goya, art mostly existed to serve power, to decorate palaces, flatter kings, and celebrate victories. Goya showed that art has another, more vital purpose: to expose power, to question authority, and to bear witness to the truth, no matter how ugly. He turned his personal nightmare into a universal warning. In the end, Francisco Goya didn't lose his mind. He found the truth. The brutal, uncomfortable truth about war, about power, and about the fragile state of our own humanity. His work reminds us that the monsters are not just in our nightmares. They are inside us, waiting for reason to fall asleep. And once you truly see that, you can never unsee it. Thanks for watching. If you found this story compelling, please like and subscribe for more journeys into the stories behind the art.